And here we go. Today we're talking about some Montreal Canadiens guys, probably the guys that I think Habs fans have been clamoring about the most. We're going to talk about Ivan Demidov, we're going to dive into Kirby Dach, we are going over the latest on Noah Dobson, and this is all coming to us from Montreal Canadiens GM Kent Hughes himself. Because earlier in the week, we had ourselves this article posted on NHL.com by NHL's Adam Kimmelman. He's the deputy managing editor of NHL.com, and as part of the NHL's 31 in 31 series, there is indeed a piece from August 14th that dives into the Canadiens. The interesting thing about this article is a lot of the questions that are listed out here actually feature a bunch of quotes from GM Kent Hughes. So this is a nice way to go out there and just kind of get Hughes's entire mindset about these topics, and it gives us some interesting opportunities to talk about them as well. So, without further ado, this article will be linked in the description. Go out there and check out the NHL's 32 and 32. Did I say 31 and 31 earlier? Yeah, no, I gotta change that. 31 days in the month, yes, but there are 32 NHL teams now. But let's dive into each of these three questions that the Montreal Canadiens face next year. Number 1. What is the ceiling for Ivan Demidov? Demidov, the 5th overall pick in 2024, made his long-anticipated NHL debut on April 14th, and after receiving a standing O when he skated out for warm-ups, had a goal and an assist in his first game. While playing 7 regular season games and Stanley Cup playoff games last season, the 19-year-old impressed enough that he's expected to start the season in a top 6 role. Kent Hughes went out there and said this, that Ivan Demidov had those ups and downs last season, but I felt like we started to notice him figure things out throughout that 5 games in the playoffs in terms of how much time he had or didn't have. And then we've seen him through the summer. His work ethic is unparalleled. He's been in Montreal, skating, working out, and skating again, twice a day, 5 days a week. I'm trying to get him off the ice. So, pretty good analysis here. Just learning that Ivan Demidov is in a very dedicated and motivated spot mentally. He's always going out there and skating. He's working out. Kent Hughes is saying, yeah, he should probably do it less. I'm trying to get him off the ice. But I also do agree here with Kent Hughes' sentiment that Ivan Demidov started to get a lot more comfortable as the games in the playoffs went along. Even in the first game that he played for Montreal, yes, he had 2 points, but remember the back check that he had on the Hawks game-tying goal? That was seen as a really bad moment in Ivan Demidov's opening game, and a lot of folks would go out there and quickly point out that, hey, those are the habits that Russian hockey players can't be bringing over here to North America. Ivan Demidov's got a back check. He's got to actually get the pace in there. He can't be just lackadaisically going around, not doing much. Eventually, he played some more games. No points against Carolina, no points in games 1, 2, or 3 against Washington. But as he did get more minutes and as he got more of a role, especially on the power play, this is where we started to see Demidov show a lot of those skills. Even though he didn't get many points in this stint, there were still some really nice centering passes and really good plays that Demidov tossed out there, trying to feed Newhook and trying to feed the other guys that he was on the lines with. There's a lot of potential here with Demidov. It's just an opening 7-game sample at the end of a grueling KHL season is not gonna really give us the best indication as to what his NHL talent level is. Now he's skating, working out, and practicing with NHL caliber players, and he's been adjusting. He's got that speed in his brain now. He knows how fast NHL gameplay is, how restrictive the ice size is compared to the KHL, and hopefully he's going to be able to use that to his benefit next season. As for the question itself, what's the ceiling for Demidov? Honestly, I'd put the ceiling at like 65 or 70 points even. If the guy gets 75, maybe then I'd start to be a little bit surprised. But even if he gets 70, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's not terribly unreasonable for a first-year rookie who's playing in a top-6 role with a Patty Laine-like scorer, with a Zach Bolduc-like scorer who'll probably be on that top power play unit. Now, let's go out there and read some of these other comments here. Second question for Montreal, how healthy is Kirby Dach? A second straight ACL injury to his right knee ended Dach's season, and after having surgery February 28th, the 24-year-old's forward availability to start the season as Montreal's second-line center is in question. Injuries have been an issue for Dach throughout most of his 6 NHL seasons. He has played more than 65 games only once and has played fewer than 60 in each of his 3 seasons with the Canadiens, including only 2 games in 23-24 because of injuries to the ACL and MCL in his right knee. So yeah, that right knee, that's a target for Kirby Dach from the hockey gods. Very, very unfortunate. Kent Hughes speaks out on Dach. He says this, "Our hope is that he's ready to go, either start of the season or at some point early in the fall. But we certainly have no intention of rushing him in any way. We need to get Kirby back when Kirby is ready to be back physically, and then be very mindful and careful with his return to play." The article says here, if Dach is out for any length of time, Newhook likely would move up to center on the second line, with Evans, Veleno, and Kapanen and Beck competing for spots in the third and fourth lines. So I'd say that's kind of appropriate, right? Like if it's not Dach, you're probably just going to toss Newhook in there and then everybody else will follow suit. Ideally, you'd say maybe Mason McTavish or somebody should be in that second-line center spot instead, but Kirby Dach is what you got right now. There have been some rumors, some speculation, some mysterious reporting going on as to Dach's progression with his injury throughout the course of the summer, whether or not he's going to be available for training camp or for the start of this upcoming season. That's still up in the air, and I think the fact that it is up in the air is kind of concerning, but still, Kent Hughes does have some reasonable commentary on the Kirby Dach situation. They just want to be really careful with this guy. They don't want to rush him. They don't want to put him in a situation where he's forced to use his body in a way that he's not able to. They just got to pay attention, pretty much. And ultimately, if that means that Dach sits out a lot longer, who really knows? But I guess time will tell, right? And then finally, we have ourselves some more commentary on the young core. Take a look at this. Third question, how does a young core group handle expectations after last season's success? Making the playoffs for the first time since 2021 was a good first step for Montreal. Now, how can it push further? The core group, led by Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Hudson, and Gooley, will be aided by a full season with Demidov, as well as the addition of Dobson, who was acquired in a trade with the Islanders on June 27th. At 25 years old, Dobson fits from an age standpoint and adds size and a right-handed shot for the top pair. He also brings 31 games of playoff experience, including back-to-back trips to the third round in 2020 and 2021. Kent Hughes said about Dobson, "It's not that often that you get to go and get a 25-year-old defenseman with that level of experience, with those qualities, that size, and be a right shot on top of it all." Yeah, I would agree with that. We almost never see defensemen in this mold get traded at this age range who get this amount of money. I mean, $9.5 million, he's making a lot. But I think his decent to poor showing in 24-25 was a big contributor to that. Only 39 points in 71 games, which is good, to be honest. Like, 39 points is not bad for a defenseman. But the fact that he got 70 the year beforehand makes this 39-point season seem like a lot more of a disappointment. And maybe you can say the momentum of Dobson's really good 23-24 to a subpar 24-25 allowed the Islanders to trade this guy away for 2 prospects and Emil Heineman. So ultimately, this is the deal. Kent Hughes is going out there and giving his praises to his newly acquired D-man. Of course, the 2 first-round picks that the Canadiens gave up were quite coveted, but getting Noah Dobson in exchange, I think, was a pretty good deal. With all this in mind, though, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Kent Hughes' speech on Ivan Demidov? What are your thoughts on what he had to say about Dach, as well as the acquisition of Noah Dobson? How do you think these guys will address the Canadiens' needs moving forward? And what are your responses to the 3 questions proposed on NHL.com? Article's going to be linked in the description, but I hope you enjoyed this video. And Bye.